Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to joint press conference of Minister of Defence of Latvia, Andris Sprūds, and the Minister of National Defence of Canada, the Honourable Bill Blair. We will start with short statements of both ministers, and after that there will be a time for your questions. The press conference working language this time is English, so please, Minister Sprūds, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Minister, dear Bill, dear friend, so of course it's a great pleasure to have you here in Latvia. You are very welcome to Latvia, and of course it is also a sign of our cooperation, our partnership, our friendship, which is highly also appreciated by the military, but I would say certainly by the whole society. We live in difficult times, we live in challenging times, we face a lot of challenges. We see Russia's aggression in Ukraine. Ukraine is fighting in many ways for our values. It's fighting also for our freedom and independence. And in this case, of course, we need strongly to cooperate among ourselves and also to be united in providing support for Ukraine. And we've done a lot to unify ourselves, to unify alliance, and I think unified approach, what we have experienced is also very much due to our partnership and friendship, also Canadian contribution to the NATO, to as well Latvian security and defense, and it's of course once more highly appreciated. So NATO is unified in times of challenges, in times of external threats as well, in times of aggression in Ukraine. But within unified NATO, we value those partnerships with our close friends, and I would certainly say Canada is our close friend, and the Latvian society certainly appreciates it highly. Canada is a leading nation of Enhanced Forward Presence Group, of the battle group. We have signed last year a joint declaration. We have agreed also on a roadmap how to proceed with Canadian presence here. Just Canada brought a very symbolic Leopard tanks recently to Latvia, and I was also able to visit and to see them, and to, of course, engage with Canadian soldiers in Adaži military base. And of course, we are looking forward how to expand this cooperation. We had a very practical and very productive discussion and exchange of thoughts today already, and still we will have a chance to continue our productive discussion and engagement, how to proceed with also the next steps as well, how we move forward to the full size, to the great size presence here in Latvia, of course in a multinational framework, a multinational context. Latvia is also doing its homework, of course investing financially, investing militarily. We also have obtained a number of our capabilities, and of course there is a need to update and to increase those capabilities, and same time, of course, to invest also in infrastructure. As a host nation, we take the full responsibility to make the presence of NATO troops, also Canadian troops, as comfortable, as relevant, and according to the whole standards, which of course are required and welcomed. Yes, and recently I was myself in Ukraine, and it once more just reminds us how important it is to support Ukraine, to also define ways of partnerships and ways of how we specifically provide this practical support. Yes, I think Latvia and Canada has done an excellent job also on training Ukrainian soldiers, and we of course have plans to continue with training of Ukrainian soldiers. Just recently we also agreed with Mr. Umerov on a drone coalition that we move forward with unmanned vehicles, and here as also we discussed with my friend Bill, that yes, I mean there is a potential also how Latvia and Canada can cooperate on this, but of course specifics will come in the future. And yes, this is sort of the ways what we can do in a military, but there is also other fields, other domains like cybersecurity, cooperation in cybersecurity. There is Canadian presence also here in Latvia in terms of providing expertise within our CERT, in our agency which addresses those cybersecurity issues. So that's why there is a wide range of cooperation efforts and domains, military industry, but last but not least, of course, it is also about connecting societies. So it's making societies understand what is extremely important in times of crisis, and exactly the solidarity of nations is a basis, it's a rock on which we build also our defense, independence, and our strengths bilaterally and also in a multilateral NATO format. So once more, my dear friend, dear Bill, dear Minister, so it's a great pleasure to have you today here, and of course, once more, it's a high appreciation for Canadian soldiers and what has been done already in the past, and we are looking forward to the further cooperation in the defense matters, but not only, beyond.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am very pleased and honored to have the opportunity to be here today with my Latvian counterpart and a man who has become a dear friend, Defense Minister Andris Sprūds. We first met when we gathered with our allies on the Ukraine Defense Contact Group, where we worked together hard and collaboratively in order to provide as much support to Ukraine as we possibly can. But we also recognize the importance of working together. And today we had the opportunity to talk about some of the important work that Canada and Latvia will do together in the defense of NATO. Latvia as a host country, Canada as the leader of a forward presence group that will be located here. And it's entirely fitting that we would have this relationship. Canada is a country where people have come from all over the world to live. But we have a very important and vital Latvian Canadian community in our country. And I know how pleased and proud they are that Canada and Latvia have formed this alliance and this partnership as part of the NATO commitment. And later today, I'm going to have the opportunity to visit Camp Adazi. And I'll be meeting with Canadian Armed Forces members who are deployed here in Latvia, coming here to meet some of our people in uniform. It's the opportunity to shake their hand, to hear about their work, their families, and the chance to thank them for their service is a very special opportunity for me as Canada's Minister of National Defence. I am truly grateful for everything they do. As Andris has said, we've just had a very productive meeting. We've talked about a number of the close defense partnerships that we are building between our two countries and about our shared commitment to a strong and united NATO. In a world as volatile as ours, where brutal dictators like Vladimir Putin are willing to flatten towns, tear families apart, and trample on human dignity, it's important for nations like ours to stick together. Russia's invasion of Ukraine is a threat to democracy across Europe and around the world, and as NATO allies, we are committed to ensuring our collective defense. And that's why Canada is so proud to lead NATO's Enhanced Forward Presence Battle Group here in Latvia. And it's why we're here a short distance from Russia's border to help deter this threat to democracy from growing in lockstep with all of our allies. Operation Reassurance is Canada's largest overseas mission, and it's getting even larger. As you know, Canada is more than doubling its military presence in Operation Reassurance from about 1,000 of our soldiers in Latvia today up to approximately 2,200 persistent troops deployed by 2026. And today I'd like to announce some of the concrete steps that we are taking to strengthen our military presence here in Latvia. First, I'm announcing that starting next summer, we will deploy 4 Griffon helicopters to the EFP battle group in Latvia. We'll also be periodically deploying Chinook helicopters starting in the fall. And these aircraft will boost our military capabilities on NATO's eastern flank. Today, I'm also announcing that Canada has awarded a contract worth $32 million to procure portable anti-armor missile systems for our forces here in Latvia, including missiles, simulators, and associated supports. These are modern anti-armor weapons, and they will better equip our soldiers to confront threats from main battle tanks and enhance the element of deterrence while keeping our people safe. We procure these systems on an urgent basis, and the first of them will be delivered by mid-2024. This contract is one of 3 urgent operational requirements that we have identified earlier this year to rapidly deliver equipment to our Canadian Armed Forces here in Latvia. And we're not doing this alone. We're working with our partners here in Latvia, but other nations who are contributing as well. We expect contracts for the other 2 urgent requirements, a short-range air defense system, as well as counter-UAS systems to be signed later in the new year. And for the first time ever, we're also deploying medium-range radar capabilities which will provide vital aerial surveillance for the multinational brigade. We'll be deploying a Canadian Army Leopard 2 tank squadron in Latvia, Andris had the opportunity to see some of our tanks, and I think you even got to get in one.
Yes.
I'm not sure I'd fit in one, Andris.
Well,
But it will significantly increase our military capabilities. We have already delivered 15 tanks, and the full complement of 130 personnel will be in place by the spring. Following the joint declaration of our two countries, which was signed by our predecessor just last year, we're investing in the infrastructure needed to scale up the current battle group to a brigade. And today I can share that we're also going to invest an additional $15 million in new infrastructure to store our Leopard tanks here in Latvia, to improve facilities for our troops at Camp Adazi and Siri, and for the future headquarters of a multinational brigade. In the weeks and months and years to come, Canada will continue to boost our presence and our commitment to this region and here in Latvia. And of course, the battle group isn't the only way that Canada and Latvia are working together. Through Operation Unifier, as Andris said, our militaries are delivering leadership development training to members of the armed forces of Ukraine in support of their heroic fight for freedom against Russia's brutal aggression. And we will continue to share vital cyber data with our NATO allies, including, of course, with Latvia, where we've deployed military and civilian cyber specialists to help protect critical infrastructure. Canada is putting boots on the ground in Latvia. We've purchased and deployed more equipment, and we're upgrading infrastructure. This will strengthen our mission significantly. It's going to better enable Canada to meet its NATO obligations, and it will ensure that our armed forces have what they need to uphold democracy, freedom, and the rules-based international order. I want to express my very sincere gratitude and appreciation to Latvia and the Latvian National Armed Forces for their partnership, their professionalism, their hospitality, and their true friendship. The Canadian-led battle group in Latvia showcases our alliance at its very best, as many nations work together for shared peace and security. I want to assure all Latvians Canada's commitment to Latvia and to NATO is ironclad and will continue to grow. We are strong, we are united, and together we will defend every inch of NATO territory. Thank you very much. Paldies. I'll open it up to any questions.
thank you. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. So now it's the time for questions and answer session. So please introduce yourself before you state your question. Please.
Aaron Haley, this is Bloomberg News. My question to Minister Blair. Canada's fiscal position is tight and government has signaled it intends to cut costs. Meanwhile, your opposition is blocking the free trade agreement with Ukraine. Are you under pressure to reduce aid to Ukraine given the budget situation? And I have a question to Mr. Sprūds. Could you give us some more details on the drone coalition? How many countries might be able to join, when you might be able to start providing drones to Ukraine?
We're going to pass that free trade bill with Ukraine. Just last week, we passed our estimates bill that will contribute an additional $500 million in military aid, and will continue to provide the funding necessary to continue with Operation Unifier to continue to train. We've trained almost 40,000 Ukrainian soldiers. We've done it together with our allies. It's important, it's meaningful, it saves lives, it makes the Ukrainian armed forces more effective. We're going to continue with that. I can tell you that the support of my government for Ukraine and for working closely with all of our allies and together in support of Ukraine remains absolutely resolute and ironclad.
Yeah, absolutely. In our meeting with Mr. Romero, who is Defense Minister of Ukraine, of course, first of all, we underlined once more and reiterated the importance of unmanned vehicles, how important they are in a modern warfare, that basically the drone capability is one of the crucial capabilities in Ukraine, but in modern warfare in general. And of course, that's why there is an intention to move forward with one of the coalitions. There are a number of coalitions under Rammstein format. For instance, Latvia is part of IT coalition as well, and we provide our expertise and also some of the equipment which is required by Ukrainian side. But here we are moving forward now with a new idea, new coalition, new concept, exactly on a drone coalition. And at the moment, we are starting to build the architecture of coalition, also the themes and directions, starting from expertise, research and development, training potentially as well, of course, providing spare parts and drones themselves. So it is an initial stage. At the moment we are starting to build it, once more, as also the configurational partners, and also specifically which directions we would emphasize and underline. But certainly it would be very beneficial, first of all, for Ukraine and Ukraine's fight for its freedom. But I would say it would be absolutely beneficial for the wider Euro-Atlantic community that we are moving into the domain of new technologies, even though already not so new technologies, basically technologies which are becoming increasingly vital and crucial for defending our freedom.
Any other questions?
This question for Latvian Minister. What are those main homeworks Latvia still has to do to facilitate the NATO brigade, and how many servicemen, soldiers there will be located?
Yes, of course, we've done, I believe, a lot. We've done already considerable progress in making our defense much stronger, and there absolutely here as a minister I can say there is continuity with the previous ministers as well in terms of capabilities, in terms of comprehensive defense, in terms of the infrastructure building, in terms of military industry. So there is a wider range of activities what we should do. But specifically when we speak about enhanced foreign presence, about the NATO battle group, of course it is also about infrastructure. And the main infrastructure object or the premise with which we are building is Celia military base. But it's not about just Celia. I mean, we still have to develop also Andris military base. There is still things to do and to improve. So it takes some time. Many good things already have been done. Many achievements have been already reached. But at the same time, it's always a work in progress, and especially if we are starting to expand. And once more, with high appreciation for Canadian leadership in making the battle group into the brigade-size battle group. So that's, of course, there are also those additional steps to be made. But at the moment, everything goes according to the plan, and of course also in coordination with our Canadian partners. And yes, there is a specific roadmap, 2026, 2,200 soldiers. So of course, and this is pretty much what we speak about the numbers. But once more, also of course, the homeworks are continuous ones, and cooperation and partnership also in the process. And harmonization is a continuous one.
Is there any more questions? Okay, if there's no more questions, then thank you both ministers for taking your time to give this press conference.
Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.